Welcome back, everyone. The U.S. Education Secretary is in Kansas City today. Secretary Arne Duncan will lead a town hall meeting about education in the city's Hispanic community. And joining us this morning is Marco Davis. He's Acting Deputy Director of the White House Initiative on Education Excellence. Marco, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Let's talk about some of the top issues within education. Number one being funding. How do you deal with that? I mean, there's so many districts across the country cutting funding.
Absolutely, absolutely. So education has been a really important priority for this administration, and we've tried, I think, and we continue to try sort of everything we can to find ways to make education accessible and affordable for students. We've increased Pell Grant funding, for example, and we're happy to say that since 2008, when we had about 6 million Pell Grant recipients, this year we're going to have almost 10 million Pell Grant recipients. So we're trying to make funding available. Similarly, we're working with states and with districts to help them realize that education is an investment that we really need for our economy to be strengthened.
Is throwing money necessarily the answer to solving these issues at the schools? Because sometimes you can have the most funded districts and they still fail.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. So, yeah, funding is not the only solution. What we really need is sort of an all-hands-on-deck effort. You know, education is one of our most important issues that's going to help our nation move forward. And what we really need is everyone coming to the table with their best ideas, figuring out new and creative ways and innovative ways to improve education for our students. So that means we need parents, we need teachers, we need administrators, we need public officials, we need business leaders. We need everybody really putting in their thoughts because, you know, we're moving into the 21st century and we're facing sort of a different world than we had before, and so we need to have an education system that reflects that.
You work closely with the Education Secretary, and one of the things that he had mentioned, he actually, calls our high schools at times, quote, dropout factories. Using these statistics of 27% of high schoolers drop out. That's huge. How do you deal with that problem?
Yeah, so we actually focused and figured out that 2,000 of our nation's high schools, roughly 12% of the schools, produce 50% of our nation's dropouts. Wow. So what we've done is some targeted efforts with some serious funding to try to turn around those schools. So we actually have a program called School Improvement Grants where we've invested $4 billion on our lowest performing schools to turn those around, to find areas of concentration of dropouts to really try to address that problem at a root cause.
So a majority of these numbers are actually in certain, probably urban districts, is that correct?
A combination, but yeah, sort of areas where there's a really high dropout rate where we find we can make a significant difference by really focusing.
Okay. There's nothing affordable about college really anymore.
Right.
I mean, it seems like it is getting to the point where, you know, I don't have any children, but if I did, 18 years from now, how can parents afford it? And how can these kids even afford it?
Yeah, it's a challenge that families face. And again, it's something that we are working, again, with all parties. Right?
How do you deal with it?
Yeah, so we work with parents, for example, to help them understand that they have options, that they have choices, that they should compare college costs and they should look at. That there are also resources they should know about. In addition to Pell Grants, there are federal student loans. There are programs for loan repayment that often folks don't know about that'll make it more affordable for them to engage in college. There's a program called income-based repayment where the amount that they'll pay in loans, students will pay in loans after graduation, is based on their income. So it's adjusted to make it more manageable.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much. We could talk about education, so many issues, but obviously we're out of time. If you would like to be involved here, there's a town hall meeting. In fact, the Education Secretary, Arne Duncan, is going to be there. Secretary Duncan, you can meet him at Penn Valley Campus, Metropolitan Community College. It's going to be tonight at 6 o'clock. It is open to the public. Mr. Davis, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.